États-Unis, nouvelle yo pas bon même, tragédie sous tragédie. Hier soir, mercredi 29 janvier 2025, là, aux environs de 9h du soir, plus que 60 personnes t'a perdu la vie yo dans un clash, dans une collision, un avion vol commercial en vol numéro 5342 de PSA Airlines, qui c'est une filiale American Airlines qui t'a sorti Wichita, Kansas, rentré en collision avec un hélicoptère et de l'armée américaine H-60 Black Hawk. Lorsque avion ça lui-même l'étape approché de piste atterrissage numéro 33 dans l'aéroport national Ronald Reagan à Arlington, Virginie. Moi dois dire nous Arlington, Virginie ou bien l'état de Virginie tout comme l'état de Maryland, c'est deux états qui entouraient Washington DC. Washington DC qui c'est capitale États-Unis mais qui pas un état lui-même, c'est un district fédéral, un district indépendant. Eh bien Virginie lui-même lui séparé par Washington et la ville de Washington, si nous capables de dire comme ça, ou bien le district de Washington par rivière ou bien fleuve Potomac. Eh bien c'est dans fleuve ça, dans rivière ça, après clash ça n'a regardé là, moi fait zoom sur lui pour nous, côté que semble c'est hélicoptère là qui a frappé avec avion pour qu'on ait trop de détails justement, yo tous deux appareils ça yo leur fin fait clash là en l'air, yo tous deux yo atterri, yo plongé justement dans rivière Potomac là ou bien fleuve Potomac là qui séparait Arlington avec Washington. Juste dans moment n'a parlé là, autorité yo même yo déployé justement depuis hier soir pour yo rapatrier corps et gentan dans minute m'a enregistré vidéo ça, gentan gen 28 corps sans vie qui rapatrié et selon autorité yo déclaré que t'assemblée pas gagné yon moun qui sorti vivant dans clash ça.
At this point we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident and we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter. The district office of the medical examiner has lead on reuniting these bodies and these people with their loved ones, and we will continue to work to find all the bodies and collect them and reunite them with their loved ones. We should also acknowledge that the Virginia medical examiner and the Army medical examiner are involved in this operation and a very important part of getting people identified. So,
voilà, nous sortons de lui, Monsieur John Donnelly, qui est responsable Fire and Emergency dans Arlington, Virginia. Il dit que dans ce stade ça, yo pas espéré joindre aucun monde qui survive, aucun survivor. Yo pas espéré joindre aucun monde vivant de tragédie ça. Et li remercier toute autorité et locale yo et ça qui dans environ Arlington, Virginia, tout fire department yo, police department yo, pour tout effort yo fait, mais en dépit de tout, pas gain espoir pour yo joindre survivant. Yo gen tan rapatrié 27 cadavres de avion qui te me dit non avion te gen 60 passagers là-dedans plus 4 membres d'équipage 64 moun et yo joindre un cadavre de hélicoptère là qui te gagné 3 moun là-dedans. En tout cas, ça nous capable dire nous souhaiter sympathie nous avec famille victime yo et ou même qui l'a toujours le bagay ça arrivé, c'est moment pour questionner, pour réfléchir sur brièveté la vie. Ça qui t'aime dit non tragédie ça lui-même l'arrivée pendant que monsieur qui président des États-Unis qui siégeait justement dans Maison Blanche Washington DC à quelques minutes à quelques kilomètres et pour moi pour capable exact avec nous Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport DC et li situé à seulement 5 km de la ville de Washington côté Donald Trump lui-même l'a signé décret par-ci par-là. Avant même nous faire de considération qui te m'voyer sympathie moi à famille victime yo, li vraiment triste. Juste imaginer ou même qui gagne madame ou qui gagne mari ou qui gagne petit ou maman, ami ou collègue de travail ou bien yon moun ko t'a pral chercher yon voisin t'a pral chercher dans aéroport qui voye dou li a 20 minutes pour l'atterrir par exemple, gen doit gen moun c'était à 10 minutes yo te écrit et puis So pral tande c'est que moun sa ou pa jam wel encore, c'est dernier message qu'on pral recevoir de moun nan. Oui, c'est histoire jeune homme ça que m'pral faire nous tande, côté que madame ni qui gen seulement 26 l'année qui t'est allé dans voyage ça justement pour affaire, qui paraît même monter avion, dis que dame ça 26 ans, li paraît même voyager, il pral rejoindre Vili qui pral parti dans un clash comme ça. Pour me faire nous tande Marian, bakay ça li vraiment agi sur moi. M'pa ka cacher di nou hier soir moi fin prendre nouvelle là m'pa ka dormi. M'pa ka dormi pour plusieurs raisons parce que moi-même c'est viré tourner en l'air. Donc bon me faire nous suivre.
I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be up.
Voilà, nous sommes tendés, nous sommes tout, li montre texte message 20 minutes et en fait côté dame nan dit la batterie dans 20 minutes et c'est une habitude presque tout le monde gagne l'on a voyagé, l'on presque atterri et du moment qu'on joue une connexion, si ou même ou pas utiliser Wi-Fi qui dans avion, ko avion pral descendre ou toujours averti soit monde qui vient chercher là, soit ou monde qui proche ou même si c'est pas lui qui vient chercher, par exemple en déplacement ou informer proche ou ko pral atterri konya là. En tout cas, moi dois dire non type de crash avion, accident avion ça yo pas produit souvent, surtout accident avion c'est un bagage qui rare bien que le fait li mortel et nous même nous kon vivre li avec ti avion pas bon la kay nous yo qui a tombé viré tourner mais dernier gros accident avion qui était fait dans les États-Unis, il remonté à 16 ans environ, plus de 15 ans. Donc c'est pour me dire non c'est pas un bagage qui arrive facile et selon autorité yo avion était dans route normale li et tout bagage a fonctionné à la normale et là ça n'a regardé là c'est carcasse avion yo gen tan joine 3 morceaux là-dedans. Bon, nous juste imaginer li pas tomber dans fleuve, li pas tomber dans rivière ça, il était tombé sur des bâtiments, des cailles. En tout cas, parce que vraiment, j'ai gagné pasteur l'église moi après résultat élection le moi-même moi était vraiment down, il te dit bon Dieu fait affaire gens le connaît, il y a un pile signal qui montrait que États-Unis parle en pile trouble, peut-être m'a content que candidat nous te souhaité c'est pas l'état pral gen pour gérer toute bagaille ça bon nous pas connaît mais un seul bagaille n'a dit tragédie toute qualité tragédie tout ça qui privé la caille nous dans pays nous accident d'avion pas bon ici et des décrets tout que Donald Trump lui-même lui apprend côté que gon persécution pour immigrants surtout immigrants noirs avec immigrants latinos immigrants haïtiens avec immigrants latinos et des décrets tout pour couper de avantages sociaux c'est autant de tragédies qu'on y a là qui a soufflé toute qualité tragédie qui a soufflé sur États-Unis parce que c'est le moment pour nous plus que jamais solidaires et c'est le moment tout pour nous plus que jamais considérer vraie valeur qui existait dans la vie pour me dire dans existence là parce que chaque bagaille qui arrivait yo t'a supposé enseigner nous une leçon là encore c'est un rappel que la vie li même li coûte li bref li fragile vivre chaque jour comme si c'était le dernier en passant qui te me dit merci à tout le monde qui toujours prend temps qui garde les vidéos yo qui commente yo qui partage yo et dernière vidéo que moi t'ai fait côté que moi t'ai bail 5 actions que un immigrant capable poser pour lui même li éviter tomber dans vague déportation ça qu'a fait là et me invité nous tout travail la caille nous c'est une possibilité me offrir nous un business qui est capable faire que nous travail la caille nous sans nous pas besoin de déplacer risquer tête nous grand pile monde qui contacte et équipement tout gain en contact avec un pile là-dedans justement pour suite nécessaire yo gen monde tout c'est avocat que yo besoin en contact et nous même tout n'a contacté yo pour nous connecter yo avec des avocats justement qui dans network avocat que nous t'ai parlé. Merci beaucoup. Nous avec un reportage de BBC News et puis avec et reportage qui était fait dans la soirée même de autorité. Bonne fin de journée et puis à bientôt pour une autre vidéo. Ou mettez pour moi dans un commentaire qui sort comprendre de toute bagaille ça yo, qu'a passé, catastrophe naturelle, tragédie politique, mais qu'on y a ces accidents d'avion. Fait me connaître ou même comment sentir et qui sort comprendre par rapport à toute tragédie ça yo.
An American Airlines flight has collided mid-air with a helicopter, a military helicopter, in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said it happened whilst on approach to runway 33 at Reagan Washington National Airport at around 9 p.m. local time. The jet, we understand, was carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew, whilst 3 U.S. Army soldiers were on board the Black Hawk military helicopter. President Donald Trump says that he's been briefed on what he has described as the terrible accident and went on to thank emergency responders for their incredible work. Police divers and boats have been searching the water now for a number of hours, looking for survivors, whilst the US federal authorities have begun their investigation. Okay, let's cross to our correspondent live from the scene, Meryl Thomas. Merlin, you're there. First off, just take us through the timeline of what happened.
So what we know is that a commercial airline, the American Airlines, collided mid-air with an Army Black Hawk helicopter. And as you said, there were 60 passengers on board the commercial airline, as well as 4 crew members. And there were also 3 soldiers on board the helicopter as well. And just in the last few minutes as well, we've seen reports that at least 18 bodies were recovered from the river. That's according to our official partners, CBS. But just to say, there is no official update on the number of casualties as of yet, and this is still a developing story. But that collision occurred here at around 9 p.m. local time, and it happened mid-air, and it happened as the commercial airline was on its approach to runway 33. And the scene that you can see behind me is the airport itself. So you can see the blue and red sirens behind me and the blackness to my left. And that is the river, as you can see here. And there is a flurry of activity as the emergency operation is underway. We know that there are emergency divers and police boats and emergency rescue operations very much underway. But just to remind you, it's midnight here local time, and so it's extremely cold and it's dark, and that will make that rescue operation all that much harder. And you know, we're constantly seeing more and more official police cars and emergency responders arriving at this airport, and we are expecting to hear a press conference in about half an hour, and we'll expect more updates regularly throughout the night as well.
Okay, Merlin, let's just go back to the crash itself. I understand that there has been some audio that's been released from air traffic control. We are waiting for more information on that. But what have eyewitnesses described in the minutes leading up to that crash?
We've spoken to people here at the scene, and they didn't want to be named, but one did tell me that they actually witnessed the moment of the collision itself. So they saw the fireball of the collision itself, and it was a bright orange in the sky, and then it fell down into what this person thought was the river. And he heard a loud boom sound as the collision happened, and he described to me how scared and terrified he was, that he wanted to fall to his knees just watching the moment happen before him. Couldn't quite believe his eyes. And so there's very much a lot of confusion here, and people have been arriving at the airport trying to find out what's happening. Some people who have arrived expecting their loved ones to arrive on other flights which have now been rerouted to other airports. All flights have been ground to a halt here. There are no flights taking off or landing here at all in the next few hours, at least, that we know of. But we'll expect to hear more updates as we go through the night more regularly.
Okay, so let me just reiterate what Merlin has told us. There is a ground stop. It's referred to as a ground stop. This is a traffic management initiative, which means that aircraft that meet specific criteria need to remain on the ground at their origination airport. So there is a ground stop in place at Reagan National Airport. No flights coming in, no flights coming out. Merlin, there are 2 helicopters that are operating in the area, and this is part of the search and rescue that is taking place at the moment. What exactly are those helicopters doing? What can you see them doing? They have, I presume, very bright spotlights on board. What have you seen?
Yeah, I can hear them whirring above me now. You can hear that sound. And they are just monitoring the situation. And we know that there are lots and lots of emergency responders on site, dozens of fire trucks and police attending to the scene, as well as divers which have been sent from neighbouring states like Maryland as well, which are part of the rescue operation. And we also know that the US Coast Guard is also involved in this operation as well. And this will be a massive operation, and it will be made all the more difficult by the fact that it is extremely cold here. The temperature is cold even in the air, and so it will be even colder in the water as well, where this rescue operation is ongoing as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of, a week or just over a week that we had the inauguration of Donald Trump, and because of that truly frigid weather, it was moved indoors. What are the conditions like along the river itself at the moment? Was it frozen over, the Potomac River?
Upstream, it is frozen in parts. Here, it's hard to see because it's so dark. It's just past midnight. It's very dark here, and as I say, it is very cold. And so those rescue divers and this police will be operating in very frigid, cold conditions. And as you said, we've had a spell of that here in DC, and that is exactly what prompted the inauguration to be moved indoors. And so, the city is just recovering from that, and so there will be some of the river will still be frozen over. We've seen elsewhere some of the tidal basin, other bodies of water in the city here are still frozen over. And it was just a few days ago that there was still snow and ice on these streets as well. So the temperatures are very cold and the conditions are very difficult.
Should contact American Airlines for more information, and we will be providing that information shortly. I am going to turn to a number of officials to provide as much information as we can this evening, and we expect to have more frequent briefings at daylight. So with that, I'm going to turn to Secretary Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. I think for all of us, we want to extend our thoughts and prayers to those individuals who were impacted by the events tonight, their families. We know this is a very difficult time for all of them. I want to join the mayor and everyone here to extending our thank you to the first responders who, again, in very difficult situations and environments, are out there searching and attempting to rescue. Tonight, I spoke with President Trump and his team in the Situation Room. I had a conversation with Secretary Pete Hegseth as well, and then with the Kansas delegation and the mayor and others in leadership, as well as Governor Youngkin from Virginia and Governor Kelly from Kansas. From the Department of Transportation and FAA's perspective, we are going to offer full support to those on the ground, to the mayor, but also to the NTSB, who is going to be conducting the investigation in this matter. We are going to provide all the support that's necessary. Mayor.
So with that, I want to ask Chief John Donnelly from DC Fire and EMS to provide an update.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Donnelly, Chief of DC Fire and EMS. This evening at 8:48, an alert was sounded, initiating a large regional response to a report of an aircraft crash on approach to the airport. This response includes first the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority's Fire Department, the District of Columbia Fire Department, the Metropolitan Police Department, and the U.S. Park Police to respond into the area and to sort that out. At 8:58, the first units arrived on the scene and found an aircraft in the water and began rescue operations. This incident has grown. There's currently about 300 responders working. We have boats from all throughout the region, police and fire boats. We have a mutual aid agreement in Washington, D.C., the National Capital Region Mutual Aid Agreement administered by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, and we're all operating under that. We're operating under a unified command. Everybody's together. So we also have requested state police helicopters from Maryland, and the Coast Guard helicopter is working. So this is a state and federal response as well. U.S. Coast Guard's got some boats in the water as well. So it's a highly complex operation. The conditions out there are extremely rough for the responders. It's cold. They're dealing with relatively windy conditions. Wind is hard out on the river. So they're out there working. We're doing everything we can to keep them safe. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to the mayor.
In Chief Bonnet from MWA.